My phone buzzed at 11:47 p.m. One voicemail. My sister's voice. Flat, smug. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving on without you." I stared at the screen for a full 5 seconds. Then I typed one word. Okay. By sunrise, the trust was locked. The house deal was cancelled. My name was removed from everything that still tied me to them. At 6:12 a.m., my phone started vibrating and didn't stop. 46 missed calls. And one new message. From their lawyer. "We have a serious problem." The voicemail ended, and the silence after it felt deliberate. Heavy. Like she wanted it to linger. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving on without you." I didn't cry. I didn't call her back. I didn't pace the room or stare at old photos like people expect. I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in my hand, and felt something settle. Not shock, not heartbreak, clarity. I typed one word. Okay. I watched the message deliver. No typing bubble came back. She wanted control, not conversation. That was always her style. Say the cruel thing. Hang up. Let it rot in the other person's chest. I plugged my phone into the charger and opened my laptop. The trust was the first thing. Family trust. My parents' idea of keeping things simple. In reality, it was a knot of shared access, vague boundaries, and one unspoken rule. Don't question your sister. She was the executor on paper. I was the operational contact. The one who actually handled the bank, the insurance, the house expenses when my parents started downsizing. But never really left. I logged in. The dashboard loaded. Familiar numbers. Familiar weight. I changed the permissions. Then I locked it. No dramatics. No notes attached. Just a clean administrative action. The kind no one notices until it's too late. The house deal came next. A quiet sale that had been moving in the background for months. My sister liked to say, "We're selling Mom and Dad's place." Like she was doing them a favor. What she meant was she wanted liquidity, fast. My name was on the transaction. Not as an owner. As a required signer. Because years ago, when no one else wanted the responsibility, I said yes. I called the escrow officer. Gave my name. She recognized it immediately. "I need to pause the transaction," I said. There was a breath on the other end. "Is there a dispute?" "There is now." She didn't ask anything else. She didn't need to. By the time I closed my laptop, it was after midnight. I lay back and stared at the ceiling. My phone stayed face down on the nightstand. I could already imagine my sister sleeping fine, convinced she'd finally said the thing she'd been rehearsing for years. "Don't come back." She thought it was a threat. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. If you've ever been treated like this by family, hit like and subscribe, because this story proves what happens when you stop staying silent. I slept better than I had in months. At 6:12 a.m., my phone started vibrating. I didn't pick it up. I let it buzz itself tired. When it stopped, I rolled over and checked the screen. 7 missed calls. All from her. I brushed my teeth, made coffee. Sat at the small kitchen table in my apartment, the one she used to call temporary, like it was a personality flaw. The phone buzzed again. 15 missed calls. Then my mother's name appeared. Then my father's. Then my sister again. Over and over like a rhythm section panicking out of sync. I took one sip of coffee before finally looking at the voicemail list. I didn't listen yet. I already knew the order. First anger. Then confusion. Then fear. At 7:03 a.m., a new number popped up. Not saved. But I knew who it was the moment I saw the area code. Their lawyer. The voicemail was short. "Too careful. We need to speak as soon as possible. There appears to be an issue with the trust access and the pending property transaction. Please return this call. It's important." Important. Not urgent. Not catastrophic. Yet, I laughed. Out loud. A sharp sound that surprised even me. This was the part no one ever understands about moments like this. The calm doesn't come later. It comes first. The chaos comes for everyone else. My sister called again. I finally answered. "What did you do?" She snapped. "No hello. No pretending. I moved on," I said. "This isn't funny," she said. "You can't just lock things." "I can," I said. "I just did." "You're being dramatic," she said, like she always did when things stopped going her way. "Mom is freaking out." I pictured my mother, Payson, wringing her hands, saying my name like it was a problem to be solved. You told me not to come back, I said. So I didn't. Silence. Then her voice changed. Lower, controlled. You're overreacting to a voicemail. You were very clear, I said. We didn't mean. You did, I said. You always do. She exhaled sharply. You're putting the house at risk. No, I said. I'm putting myself first. That trust isn't yours, she said. It isn't yours either, I said. That's the point. She hung up. The missed calls kept stacking. 46 by mid-morning. I didn't listen to a single voicemail. I didn't need their explanations, their revisions, their sudden concern. By noon my email lit up. Subject lines in all caps. Family group threads resurrected from the dead. People who hadn't checked on me in years suddenly wanted to understand. I didn't reply. What they didn't know yet was that this wasn't impulsive. It wasn't revenge. It was a boundary I should have drawn a decade ago, finally placed where it belonged. I wasn't cutting them off. I was stepping out of the way. And when you stop holding up something unstable, it doesn't stay standing out of gratitude, it collapses, quietly at first. Then all at once. By early afternoon, the tone changed. The calls stopped coming in bursts and started arriving one at a time. Longer gaps. More restraint. That's how I knew panic had set in. My sister didn't call when she felt powerful. She called when she was losing control. I finally listened to the first voicemail. Her voice was tight, pitched higher than usual. Call me back. This is getting out of hand. The second one came 10 minutes later. You're embarrassing yourself. The third was quieter. We can talk about this. I deleted them all. At 18 p.m., my father called. I answered because I knew if I didn't, he'd drive straight to my apartment and pretend it was concern. Why are you doing this? He asked. No greeting. Just accusation dressed up as confusion. I'm not doing anything, I said. I stopped doing things? That trust was set up for family, he said. I'm family, I said. A pause. Long enough to tell me everything. Your sister is under a lot of stress, he said finally. Of course she was. She was always under stress when she couldn't dictate the outcome. She told me not to come back, I said. I respected that. That was said in anger, he said. You know how she is. I did. That was the problem. She didn't sound angry, I said. She sounded finished. He sighed. You're taking this too literally. I smiled into my coffee mug, cold now. Bitter. Funny, I said. Because every time I asked for clarity in this family, I was told words matter. He didn't respond. What happens if the house sale falls through? He asked. That depends. I said. On what? On whether I'm still considered disposable. He exhaled through his nose. This isn't the time to make a point. I didn't make one, I said. She did. He hung up. The lawyer emailed again around 2. This time the subject line dropped the politeness. Urient, TRSTACES and ESCROBISSE. I read it once. Then again. Then closed my laptop. I wasn't stonewalling. I was waiting. Because when people like my sister finally realize they need you, they don't start with apologies. They start with strategy. And I wanted to see which one she chose. At 30:07 p.m., she showed up, no call, no warning. Just her knocking like she owned the hallway. I opened the door and didn't step aside. She looked me up and down, eyes scanning my apartment like she was mentally assigning value. Same as always. Assessing. Judging. You look calm, she said. I am. She crossed her arms. You can't hold the family hostage. I'm not, I said. I was removed. That voicemail was very clear, I said. She stepped closer. You always do this. You take things personally. You told me not to come back, I said. So I didn't. Her jaw tightened. You know how much is riding on that sale? Yes, I said. That's why you shouldn't have told me I was out. She laughed once. Short. Sharp. You're punishing everyone because your feelings got hurt. No, I said. I stopped cushioning everyone while mine were ignored. She looked past me, into my apartment again. Mom's crying. I didn't respond. She's saying you're tearing the family apart, she added. I leaned against the doorframe. Then she should ask herself why one voicemail did all this. My sister stared at me, really stared, like she was trying to find the version of me that used to flinch. You think you're powerful now, she said. I think I'm done, I said. She shook her head. You don't get it. The lawyer says if you don't reverse this, things could get messy. I'm not afraid of messy, I said. I lived in it, she scoffed. You were always dramatic. And you were always sure I'd stay, I said. We were both wrong. Her phone buzzed. She checked it, then looked up, eyes sharper. They're talking about replacing you, she said. Legally? That'll take time, I said. And cooperation? She stared at me again. Something new crept into her expression. Not anger. Calculation. What do you want? She asked. There it was. I want exactly what you told me, I said. To move on. That's not an answer. It is, I said. You just don't like it. She stepped back, suddenly aware she wasn't getting leverage here. You think this ends well for you? She asked. I think it ends honestly, I said. She turned to leave, then stopped. You're making a mistake. I shrugged. So did you. She walked away without another word. That night, the lawyer finally called me directly. No voicemail. Straight through. Why need to clarify your intentions? He said carefully. My intentions are clear, I said. I'm no longer participating without respect. He paused. Your sister feels blindsided. I laughed softly. She told me not to come back. Another pause. Longer? That voicemail complicates things. He admitted. I know, I said. She sent it. By midnight, the family group chat went silent. No more pressure. No more guilt disguised as concern. Just the sound of something recalculating. They thought I was reacting. They didn't realize I was responding to years of being convenient, invisible, and expected to absorb whatever they threw at me. And once you stop absorbing, everything spills. The silence didn't last. It never does when money is involved. At 4 a.m. the next morning, my email refreshed on its own. New message. Same lawyer. This time, no subject line theatrics. Just my name. He wanted a meeting, not a call. A meeting. I agreed. Not because I was eager. Because I wanted everything said out loud, in a room where no one could rewrite it later. We met in a glass conference room downtown. Neutral ground. My sister arrived first. Of course she did. Sitting straight, phone face down, already performing composure. My parents came in together. My mother clutching her purse like it was an anchor. No one hugged me. The lawyer closed the door and cleared his throat. We're here to resolve an impasse, he said. I didn't correct him. It wasn't an impasse. It was a consequence. My sister spoke first. This never should have escalated. I looked at her. You escalated it. You know what I meant, she said. That voicemail was private. You left it, I said. On purpose. My mother's eyes filled immediately. Can we not do this like this? Like what? I asked. Honestly. The lawyer raised a hand gently. Let's focus on the legal reality. As it stands, the trust requires unanimous operational consent for any major transaction. That includes the property sale. My sister's jaw tightened. Which is ridiculous. It's protective, I said. That's why it exists. She turned to the lawyer. There has to be a workaround. There is, he said carefully. But it involves time, court approval, and disclosures you may not want examined. My father shifted in his chair. We don't need court. Then don't treat me like I don't exist, I said. The room went still. My sister exhaled sharply. What do you want? She asked again, slower this time, less force, more calculation. I want my role acknowledged, I said. Or removed cleanly. You already removed yourself, she snapped. No, I said. You tried to. The lawyer interjected. If I may, this voicemail does matter. It establishes intent to exclude, which complicates any claim of cooperation failure. My sister stared at him. It was a moment. It was recorded, he said. My mother whispered my name like a warning. Please. I looked at her. Really looked. You heard it, didn't you? She didn't answer. You heard her tell me not to come back, I said. And you said nothing. Her shoulders slumped. That was answer enough. I've spent years keeping things running, I said, voice steady. Covering gaps. Fixing problems quietly so no one had to be uncomfortable. And the one time she decided I was inconvenient, I was told to disappear. My sister scoffed. That's not fair. It's accurate, I said. The lawyer folded his hands. Here are the options. 1. We restore cooperative access, move forward with the sale, and amend the trust to clarify roles. 2. We initiate removal proceedings, which will freeze assets until resolved. And 3. I asked. He looked at me. You step away entirely. Your access is revoked with compensation for your administrative role. But the sale timeline resets. My sister stiffened. That could cost us the buyer. Yes, he said. It likely would. The room waited. I felt the weight of their eyes, the unspoken expectation that I would do what I always did, bend, smooth, sacrifice speed for peace. I choose 3, I said. My sister's head snapped toward me. You can't be serious? I am, I said. I don't want access, I want separation. My father frowned. This hurts everyone. It protects me, I said. My mother reached for my hand. I let her, but I didn't squeeze back. Why now? She whispered. Because now you noticed, I said. The lawyer nodded slowly. Then we'll need signatures. From me. My sister asked sharply. Yes? He said. And cooperation? She looked at me like I'd betrayed her, like I'd broken an unspoken contract to stay small. You're choosing this, she said. I'm accepting it, I said. You offered. The meeting ended without resolution, just paperwork in motion. Timelines pushed, pressure redistributed. As we stood to leave, my sister leaned close. You think you've won. I think I've left, I said. That afternoon, the buyer pulled out. No drama, no threats, just a polite email about uncertainty and risk. By evening, the family group chat reactivated. Panic replaced anger. My phone stayed quiet. For the first time, they were dealing with the consequences without me buffering the impact. And for the first time, I wasn't explaining myself. I was done being the invisible hinge holding a door no one thanked me for. The fallout didn't explode. It sagged. That's how these things actually happen. Not with shouting or slammed doors, but with delayed emails, postponed plans, and people realizing too late that the person they dismissed was the one keeping things balanced. 3 days after the meeting, my sister sent a text. We need to talk. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just need. I didn't reply. Instead, I received an updated draft of the trust amendment from the lawyer. Dry language. Clean lines. My role reduced to a clause that ended on a specific date. No more open-ended responsibility. No more assumed access. I read it twice and signed. That afternoon, my mother called. Her voice was smaller than I'd ever heard it. Your sister isn't sleeping. I leaned against the counter in my apartment. Sunlight hit the floor in a way I'd never noticed before. Neither was I said. She's scared, my mother said. She told me to leave, I said. A pause. Then a soft, almost inaudible I know. That was new. They're saying the buyer won't come back? She continued. The market's shifting. I didn't change the market, I said. No, she said. But you changed the plan? I closed my eyes, not from pain, from relief. That plan never included me, I said. It just used me. My mother didn't argue. Later that evening, my father showed up at my door. Alone this time. No warning. Just him, standing there with his hands in his pockets like he didn't know where to put them without control. You didn't have to do it this way, he said. I stepped aside and let him in. We sat at my small table. The one they used to dismiss. I did, I said. He looked around. You could have called. I answered when it mattered, I said. No one listened. He rubbed his forehead. Your sister feels blindsided. I was told not to come back, I said. That wasn't subtle. He nodded slowly. She didn't think you'd take it seriously. That's the problem, I said. He looked up at me then. Really looked. You've changed. No, I said. I stopped compensating. He exhaled. We needed you. You needed what I provided, I said. Not me. The words landed between us heavy. Undeniable. She's asking if you'll reconsider, he said. I already did, I said. And I chose myself. He didn't argue. That told me everything. Over the next week, the story shifted. Subtly, carefully, I was no longer dramatic. I was independent, no longer difficult. Strong-willed. No longer selfish. Taking space. They needed a narrative that didn't indict them. I didn't correct it. The lawyer finalized the separation. Clean. Documented. Quiet. My access ended. My compensation transferred. No disputes. No lingering hooks. The day it became official, my sister sent one last message. I didn't mean it like that. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I replied, I know. And I blocked her. That night, I sat alone in my apartment and felt something unfamiliar. Peace. Not the fragile kind that depends on everyone else behaving. The solid kind that comes from no longer being available for harm. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't waiting for them to understand. They didn't have to. Because for the first time, their chaos wasn't mine to manage, and that was justice enough. The calls stopped completely after that, not all at once. One by one, like lights going out in rooms I no longer lived in. Weeks passed. Then months. The house never sold, not that year. The market dipped just enough to scare off serious buyers, and without my name smoothing things over, every delay became visible. Every crack widened. I heard about it secondhand. An aunt mentioned it at a birthday dinner I almost didn't attend. A cousin texted, casual but curious. I didn't ask questions. I didn't offer commentary. I wasn't involved anymore. That was the point. My sister didn't reach out again. Not directly. She let other people do it for her, the way she always had. Soft probes disguised as concern. She misses you. She didn't expect things to go this far. She's under a lot of pressure. I let those messages sit unread until the notifications stopped coming. One afternoon, I ran into her by accident, a grocery store parking lot. Midday, she was loading bags into her trunk, phone wedged between her shoulder and ear, already annoyed about something else. She saw me and froze. I didn't. I walked past her, keys in hand, heart steady. She said my name. Not loudly, not sharply. Like she was testing whether it still worked. I turned. She looked thinner, tired. Not broken, just exposed in a way she wasn't used to. This didn't have to happen, she said. It did, I said. She glanced around the lot, uncomfortable without an audience she could manage. You could still help fix things. I smiled, small and genuine. That was never my job. Her mouth opened, then closed. For once, there was nothing rehearsed to say. I got in my car and drove away. That was the moment I knew it was over. Not because she gave up, but because I didn't feel the urge to explain, defend, or soften the truth for her comfort. At home that evening, I opened a folder on my laptop labeled Old Files. Inside were documents I no longer needed, emails that once controlled my schedule, reminders tied to responsibilities that weren't mine anymore. I deleted the folder, not ceremonially, just deliberately. My parents still call sometimes, more carefully now. Conversations stay on safe topics: weather, work, neutral updates. There's a distance, but it's honest. No pretending things are fine. No pretending they didn't choose silence when it mattered. And me. I sleep through the night. I don't check my phone for missed calls. I don't brace myself before family gatherings. I don't rehearse conversations that might never happen. I moved on first, not loudly, not dramatically, just completely. And the truth is, the moment I stopped trying to be included in a place that kept pushing me out, my life finally had room to breathe. Some doors don't need to be slammed. They just need to be closed.